What's up, everybody? It's your favorite confused nerd's favorite nerd. And the reason why I say that is because, you know, I rarely talk about this type of stuff. But this guy came with these spec cards. Now, I don't know if I didn't get these guys, so I don't know if maybe they didn't come with these guys, and that's why they included it with this one. But I just wanted to bring it up that I thought it was fairly bizarre, especially not having these two guys. Maybe it makes sense for those that do. Feel free to let me know. But I'm guessing that's what the situation is. So let's get to the figure. So here's the alt mode, and I have some issues with this. I really do. It's a nice, like, brick. That's what I dig about it, and I dig that a lot. It's a good size. I'm a fan of all that. This turret spins, and it's on a bit of a like a ratchet-esque type system, which is really clever given the transformation and everything. I like that a lot also. And then the barrel, the whole, you know, due to transformation, you can get the whole bit to kind of lift up a bit, you know, and then you can even cheat a little bit to get it down. Depending on, like, if you're taking pictures and stuff, you could cheat it. And the barrel seems a little short. Now, I know it's probably based on some tank that's accurate for, but I don't care, really. It doesn't feel right, which is kind of my issue with it. The barrel is an issue for me, kind of overall. It's plain. And the paint, this is a problem with this company. It's use of paint. And, like, this is all, you know, like single cast pieces a lot, you know, like here clipping into there and so forth. Like, is obviously different pieces, but like each individual piece that puts together is just one piece, and there's no paint on it, and it's just silver, just solid silver. Like, if the tracks were black, you know, that would really help. You know, like, I know it would have been over the top, but like just painting these little bolts, you know, would have been really nice. It would just made this thing jump off the shelf. But this is all plain. This is plain. This is plain. All this is plain. It's just a bunch of plain. And while I like the size and I like the functionality of it, it doesn't feel like $120 to me sitting here like this. This doesn't bother me. This parts forming element that everyone's pretty much aware of doesn't bother me in the least. If it bothers you, take it off and put it in the box. It affects nothing. Okay, so we're going to be transforming this guy in a montage, and you'll see why. Step 1, we're going to split this, if we can. Step 2, unfold this piece. Step 3, these front two pieces here, you got to kind of push down on them to untab them, and then fold these pieces down. Kind of unpull all these tracks to the side a bit. Step 5 is taking out the riot shield that we'll be using later. Next, get your turret up and out of the way and unpeg these side pieces here. You can see where they... Then lift these middle pieces up and out. Same on the other side. Pull this up and these out. And then slide these out on this bar here. Make sure the rear tracks are disconnected. Slide these forearms up like that, and then out, which is a pain. Take this part of the track and fold it around. So same on the other side. And up, and then out. Fold the track around. To finish off the forearm track, just rock this hinge back to that position. Same on the other side. Slide the rear shoulder piece that plugs into this back to here. Same on the other side. Find the ball joint that's in the shoulder. A good place to find it is right where this little circle design is. Push it up and rock it out. Same on the other side. Now you can fold this piece down to get a wider look at it all. You want to take this shoulder piece, slide it back, and kind of lock that mechanism up in there with that gray pen, and you just kind of got to rock it the best you can until it sits like that. Same on the other side. Slide it back. Rock it in, lock it in. Now the way to know that you've got it right is to look at the inside of the shoulder, and you need that little peg in there to line up just right with the shoulder bit, with the black part. There. You see it? I'll try to show it to you again. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to. So you see right in there? It's really challenging. For me anyway. I'm sure there's one of you that thinks it's a cinch. See, it's like, there it is. Good grief. And that still ain't 100% right, but it's in there. And then lastly for that, you can now slide this piece back over again on both sides. We're going to prep this gray piece. So it hinges here on a ball peg, and then you turn it 180 on that ball peg. Then split the turret. There's one large piece here and then another large piece there. They both rock out. Grab the center bit here, flip it for the head reveal. That peg goes in that hole. And you have that. This gets a little tricky. You want to rotate these around on this hinge system here and plug that piece up into there. That's the goal anyway. There. Same on the other side. This is how you want it to look, with the two black bars coming down at like a 45-degree angle and the red, lined up on the back. This is a setting yourself up for success kind of deal. You got these gray pieces here, and then the arms rotate on them. So take that off. It's like tabbed around with that peg, and then fold the whole thing back. I'll show it to you better over here. So that from the side, it looks like that. While you have these gray pieces to the back, try to set yourself up for success. Line it up to about here, so that you can collapse that. That'll let you know that you've got the right angle. Same on the other side. And then bring this whole assembly up and lock it in. You've got all these little bits and pieces that got to plug in. So just there you go. Mine's not there. Same on the other side. Good to go. Take his sizable backpack, bring it up. It's going to feel like it doesn't go, but just keep pushing and it will all go into place. Easy for me to say. There. That's in there. We have to do some separating though. So slide those out like that. On the underside, release the thighs and flip them around. Okay, now take this whole kind of situation here and rotate it around 180 on both sides. Pull his feet down if they haven't already come loose. Collapse the ankle. Fold the treads. Rotate this bottom portion of the last part of the tread. Push down, close up. Again, push down, close up. Separate the upper thigh piece and fold around. Same on the other side. Fold around. And this chunk will come right back and sit in there. And then we want to collapse the knees again so that it doesn't look absurd. And then really make sure his calves are snapped together. Same on the other side. That looks appropriate. On the back of the, inappropriate I guess, on the back of the calves, you got to kind of fold these pieces around the tab here and then push down into the knee. And there's a little slot for that peg. Same on the other side. Hopefully you can see where that goes. It's right up in there. Collapse the toe, bring it down, slide it in. Same on the other side. Slide it in. Lastly, you just got to connect these two sections. So make sure the crotch piece is flipped up. These two black tabs here plug into there. Latch them on and then kind of use it as a lever to fork the whole thing around. And then this piece here tabs into there. And there you go. To add this onto his backpack, just fold this up in there. Collapse that in the middle. You want, where is it? Those two tabs right there to kind of lock around the frame of the silver bit. Like that. And then he has a ridiculously huge backpack, which I can tell you is not for me, and it makes him extremely back heavy. So there he is standing with it on, and you know, thanks to these huge feet, it's not really an issue with him standing, but it is certainly present, let's say. Now do you see why I did that in a montage? It's like this thing explodes and then comes back together again. And once it explodes, there's so much moving around and getting in the way that it becomes almost next to impossible to do one thing. because you're trying to answer the demands of all these pieces. It's almost like,
hey man, where them sausages?
I'm working on it.
I'm hungry, man.
I'm working on it.
And a hot dog.
The hot dog. I'm working on everything that's inside of here.
My kids have been waiting for hamburgers. Where's the chicken?
I'm trying. I'm trying.
Are you done with that yet?
I'm
more.
It's too much. Cook it yourself. But let's talk about the accessories separate. So there was that way that we showed combined. This does just tab on there with this piece into there, and then this is his gun, and then this is like his riot shield, I guess. There. So a lot of line work up in there. Not a lick of paint on this huge piece of plastic, but a lot of line work. We did get some maroon paint up in there and some silver paint there, so that actually is nice. For him to hold it, it can be a bit of a bear as well. Okay, so I got it. I just wanted to try to give you a close-up of how to do it. So bend this piece just a little bit. Angle it around the fingers until you get about that angle where you can start to close the fingers and guide the black piece into the hand like so, and then you can straighten the gun out and you'll got them. And then we have this bit here, which same kind of thing, and this one is even more challenging because of the bulk of the plastic. That I got a lot better. So there. So let's finally talk about this figure. The head is on a hinged swivel, so it swivels left and right, and then the hinge allows it to look, get an extreme angle up, which is nice, not much down. Shoulders are on a ton of things, so they're on a ball joint at the base of the shoulder, and then a soft ratcheting kind of system to hinge in and out. So the ball joint, the ball peg gets you the up, down, the soft ratcheting gets you an additional in, out, and then the ball joint also allows for a swivel at the shoulder joint. Bicep swivel, and then this elbow. This elbow gets you a little past 90 degrees, but because of the way it's done, it throws the proportions of his arms off for me. It just seems like, I don't know, it seems like they should be longer. I mean, I guess, I don't know, I can't call it. I guess like maybe just down to here maybe. Same on the other side. We have on the face, we have a nice silver paint and black paint, and the blue on the eyes is awesome. The color red that they used for the plastic is stupendous. My only problem is that they certainly didn't cover any of it up for the most part. So there's all these details, these handles and these rivets and all this stuff that they could have painted and they just didn't. That's pretty disappointing because it could have really put this thing, made it like stunning as opposed to just kind of imposing, which it definitely is. So continuing on, the wrist is on a swivel and then the fingers are on a pin hinge at the base knuckle of all four fingers, which is the way I prefer it for Masterpiece figures anyway. So I dig that. And let's see what else we have. We have a ratcheting waist, a soft ratcheting waist. We have a universal joint at the hips that gets you that far out. It's a soft ratchet out and it's a hard ratchet up and down. And the thigh swivel is built in, getting you everything you could want there. The knee is on a soft ratchet, and you can kind of cheat the system a little bit by extending that, for some wider stances or whatever. And it's not really that unsightly or that noticeable, if you wanted to get a dynamic pose for a photograph or something. And the only breakout that we have all the way down, like, look at all that stuff they could have painted up in there that would have just, it would have just sent this thing through the roof, I think. We did get some silver up in here. We got silver paint there, and then we got silver plastic there. Nothing on the pelvis. We did get some silver paint on the thighs, which is nice. A little tab of silver there on the inside, which is just bizarre choice for me. So yeah, moving on down. The foot has a double hinge system here with a ball peg at the end of it, which gets you a tilt, all that you could possibly want in a tilt, and then a pretty extreme rocker as well, inside and outside. Not that I would ever know why you would need inside, but the option is available to you. So yeah, that's him. Let's do some size comparisons. Hopefully that can give you enough of a size comparison reference. We got X-Transbot's Huffer, we got Masterpiece Bluestreak and Masterpiece Bumblebee, iGear's Outback, and iGear's Cosmos. So it's a lot of different sizes in the Masterpiece-esque, Mini-Bot-esque combinations going on. So hopefully that gives you a point of reference. There he is with the Generations Deluxe and the G1. Now this is one of my favorite deluxe figures ever made. And while I want to go on record and state that, I also want to say the obvious. He cleans up a lot better. But in the same breath, let's also remember he's nowhere near as articulated, and his tank mode is nowhere near as accurate as this guy's is. So keep that in mind. Final thoughts. Let's talk about the negatives. The paint. The paint is missing. It's screaming at you that it's missing. It's extremely plain. It's extremely plain. That's probably my biggest complaint. My second complaint is the transformation process just not being fun. Like, you know, it explodes and then you're fighting with it to get it back together for the next 20 minutes to a half an hour. And the flip side of that is that if you enjoy super complex transformations, this guy is right up your alley. And another point of credit to this company is that the instructions are top-notch. I pretty much followed them to the T to try to give you guys a visual reference as you were going along with yours. So kudos to them for that. The other problem that we have to address is the kibble. With the transformation being as complex as it is, with all of those moving parts, when you finally get it together and realize that you got all of that sitting up on there, which just, you know, it's rather unsightly, you know, and it's hard to ignore. It's right in your face. The backpack is pretty present. I tuck these pieces up underneath here. I think you're just supposed to rest them up against there, but I think it helps get them out of the way if you tuck them up into there. And then, you know, even the feet and all that business, like, it's just, you know, there's no getting away from that kibble. Like, he is there to stay. My only other minor gripe is this barrel. I wish this barrel collapsed. I wish it collapsed in this mode and extended in vehicle mode. Now, I also have to admit that I like this guy a lot more than I thought I was going to. When I started seeing the finished pictures and when, you know, the scuttlebutt started hitting the interwebs, oh man, he's a parts former, he's this and that, I was like, oh god, like, it just started to sound like this thing was going to be horrendous. And I don't feel that way at all. Actually, I'm pretty happy with him. Obviously, I had those complaints that I've already mentioned, but his articulation is top-notch. His silhouette is great. His general mass and size is very beefy, very imposing. He looks like a force to be reckoned with, which is kind of how I've always imagined Warpath, even though technically this guy might be a little big for the quote-unquote G1 accuracy. The parts forming part of this doesn't bother me in the least, and if it bothers you, take it off and put it in a box. It doesn't make any difference. The paint, where they did apply it, is fantastic. If you look at the paint that's applied to that face, like, that is a small spot that they got into, and it's not very, so to speak, and it's not messy. The black is clean, the blue is clean, the silver is clean. That's pretty impressive. I wish they would get those brushes out more often and apply them to a little bit more of this figure so he'd be a little bit more interesting to look at. Because from a distance, it's hard to appreciate all the line work, sculpt work, detail that goes into this guy, and it's really easy to just see kind of a maroon mass at the same hand of comparing the good and the bad, if you think about the transformation of this guy, it is a bear. I don't enjoy it. I really don't enjoy it. However, it is extremely rewarding. Once you get it all finished, you feel like you created fire or something. Like it's pretty fantastic. It's a pretty big payoff for the work, even though I wish the payoff was a little bit more with stuff like that. But all in all, a pretty good figure. You guys know I'm not really into sponsorships from toy companies, but I do like to be sponsored by the people, and I'd like to look out for the people. So I just want to give you guys a heads up. I got this guy from 215 Toys. They're not paying me. They're not paying me to do this. They're not paying me to say this. They're just a new company, and the price was low. It was lower than the big competitors. So I went with them because, you know, I work hard for my money, so hard for my money, and, you know, you better treat me right. And it was a pleasure to deal with them. Sometimes when you're not dealing with the big two, it gets a little scary to venture outside of that box. So if you guys have ever heard of this company or thinking about giving this company a chance, I can just say that my experience has been pleasant thus far. So, but more importantly, the price was right. So that's just looking out for you guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Until next time, take care.